612 yards of total offense seems to make everyone believe everything's fine. They're just needing to push it to the end zone, but 3 missed conversions on 4th down, 2 for 5 on 4th down. I just counted up the drive chart, 9 empty drives, 4 touchdowns, 9 empty. The last play or the last drive, of course, was a hopeless situation. Mismanaged at the end of the first half, I thought, because they made a big play. They had 34 seconds to start the drive. It was tough field position, but they made a big play, put themselves in position, Tony, to do more with that drive. So while the offense can't necessarily be taken off the hook, it was productive, if not efficient.
Yeah, and as Ryan Day kept repeating, the offense put 600 yards of total offense on the board. The offense isn't the issue, but also acknowledge that the offense needs to finish drives. They need to pick up those first downs. They shouldn't be relying so much on CJ Stroud. The running game needs to get better. The offensive line needs to block better. The running backs need to play better. But anytime another quarterback was mentioned, like somebody asked, did you think about maybe putting Kyle McCord in there at any point? And as that question was being asked, you could see Ryan Day's eyebrows go up, and then he just closed his eyes for a second before he answered, like, no, CJ's doing fine. And, so I think everybody's searching for answers. And yes, you want everything to be perfect. You put up 600 yards of total offense, you should be able to win. You put up 28 points in a given week, you should be able to win. So, I mean, there are things they can do better on offense, but that means, okay, now you've scored 42 points and 700 yards, but did you win?
Right.
Kevin,
if you take the one long Mayan Williams touchdown off the board, that 71-yarder or whatever, Ohio State is averaging 126 yards a game on the ground. That's just unacceptable for Ohio State, a team that has a DNA in being a running team. So, while the offense seems to be doing well, 7 touchdowns against a couple of picks, and those picks were kind of one was a tip and one was, under duress, for CJ Stroud. The passing game is there, but where is the run game falling apart? Is it falling apart because the backs aren't hitting the holes, or the holes not there? Offensive line is one of those positions that's just kind of the most difficult to be able to judge just from the television broadcast. But, I'm curious as to where the breakdown is in terms of the running game. Certainly they didn't really attempt a lot of runs in the Oregon game with whatever it was, 54 pass attempts. So there's still room for improvement.
Yeah, I have some bullet points on offense. First of all, Stroud threw for 484 yards. He completed 65% of his passes. The 484 is the second most in a single game in OSU history. Haskins threw for 499 against Northwestern in the Big Ten championship game. And Haskins had several 400-yard games that year that he had as the starter. So I think it was a little out of whack, obviously. Could Stroud have done a little bit more throwing the football? Perhaps. He had several passes dropped. He had the deep ball to Chris Olave that kind of went off of his hands and was not tipped. It didn't appear by the defender, I didn't feel. So his interception was basically the same as a punt. It was 3rd and 18. And, they lost possession because of it. But they probably, unless they had gotten 9 or 10 yards on the first play and then 9 or 10 yards on 4th down, probably weren't going to convert that one anyway. So, and he was under immediate duress on that play as well, rolling to his right. And sometimes his footwork betrays him a little bit. And the ball kind of sails on him a little bit. But again, I think that's a coachable, teachable thing that he can work through. And I think he'll get better with accuracy as he goes along. If you put this game, really in his category that he was part of the problem, I don't think that you're really thinking things all the way through. He's part of the situation that you have to work around him to overcome his lack of experience. It's only his second start, only the second game he's ever really played. And he, in my opinion, crushed it. For the large part. The biggest problem with the offense is the fact that there is no threat of the quarterback run. And within the set that they are trying to come off as this zone read RPO team, him not being of an option to run the football, kind of like it was with Haskins, people can sit on your running back and hit your running back all day. And if he's not going to keep the ball, and he only ran the ball 3 times, and I don't even know if any of them were called runs. He was sacked 2 other times that counted as runs, so he had 5 carries. Only 3 times did he pick up positive yards. I asked Coach Day about that, and he said, well, maybe we'll get into more read as we go along. And perhaps some of that had to do with the injury, it seems, to his shoulder that happened in the Minnesota game. Maybe he was protecting himself. Maybe they didn't want him to get hit and leave the game. And to me, without the hint of the quarterback run, that would be huge. Coach Day said, oh, he did convert the 1, but then they had the holding penalty on Thayer Munford, which, Thayer did grab the guy's jersey. It was at the point of attack, so I can understand why a Pac-12 official, which brings up an interesting point. Tulsa, Oklahoma State, the game that I watched, was a one-off. It's a guarantee game at Tulsa or at Oklahoma State. They're paying them to come in, but they had ACC officials, a neutral crew. Why is this game, Ohio State, Oregon, a one-off, essentially a guarantee game, but kind of a guarantee game on steroids, $3 million payout? Why do you give them $3 million and also use their officials? They should have ACC officials or SEC officials or Big 12 officials or MAC officials or anybody other than Pac-12 or possibly Big 10 doing that game. So that's an aside. And I don't want to put the game on the officials, but no targeting on the Olave call where it appeared he got speared in the back. That's not targeting anymore. I don't know. But all the way around the bend on the offense, I think that quarterback run's got to be a part of this thing, or you're going to have more games like that. And offensive line, what I was told on the 4th and 2 was they needed to call timeout because Oregon had that thing completely locked up just by the formation that they lined up in, that they weren't going to allow that play to go for anything. And that needed to be recognized and called timeout and get into another play. And my last thing on the offense is you go to all that trouble, and that 62 yards that they got at the end of the first half goes on your card as production, but it got you 0 points. And one reason it got you 0 points was you took a snap at the 30-yard line with 1 second left and didn't throw the ball in the end zone. Threw the ball underneath, I think, to Henderson. And unless he started lateraling it everywhere, it wasn't going to go for 6. So that's one where, again, the kid's inexperienced. He knew enough to get the team up to the line of scrimmage to take the snap when they blew the whistle, but then he didn't throw the ball in the end zone. So that's a missed opportunity because maybe you get a pass interference and you get a first down, and at least you can kick a field goal for 3 or have another shot at it. So my bullet points on the offense.
I noticed that for as much as I like Mayan Williams and Travion Henderson, it was pretty impressive to watch Oregon's linebackers. As soon as they made contact, they dropped them on the spot most of the time. They wrapped them up and dropped them right there. The rushing yardage seemed to come from the offensive line opening holes. That was my assessment from just watching once. I didn't watch any replays.
Smart man.
Well,
you know what's interesting is Big Ten Network. I don't know if they ever replayed it since the Big Ten team got beat. They may have had it slotted for repeats and may have filled it out with other games that Big Ten teams won. And I bought Pac-12 Network just so I could scout Oregon, and the game with Fresno was on Pac-12 Network. And as I scoured through their schedule, it's not scheduled for a replay on there because they thought it was going to be a loss for their team. So trying to find a replay of this game, good luck. It's probably on YouTube. I mean, somebody out there pirates the game and puts the whole thing up there till Fox or ESPN tell them to yank it down. But trying to find a replay of it. Maybe Fox Sports 1's playing it at 2 in the morning or something. But it's kind of hard to find.